since it began. But we also, like I said, had a very innovative prosecutor who was one of 8 prosecutors who came together and said, we're one of the few programs out of 88 counties that have victim witness divisions, and they were part of the Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association. And so in their dialogues, they would say, we need more programs like this. How can we do that? So they started the Ohio Victim Witness Association.
So we have had a very active connection with OVWA right from its inception.
I've worked with OVWA for about 22 years now.
We have been members of OVWA since our inception, and we recognize the great value that the organization has for all advocates within the state of Ohio.
Rhonda Barner. If it hadn't been for Rhonda, I don't know what I would have done. OVWA was kind of, my support, my respite, everything that I needed at the time. Being a Lone Ranger, starting a program by myself.
Before I was county prosecutor, I was a city attorney and a city prosecutor here in Columbus, and we started one of the first victim witness assistance sections in our office with misdemeanor victims and domestic violence victims. And so it was in connection with that it was a natural affinity on issues, whether they were legislature considering new bills or potential bills to solve problems. They were a natural ally to the city attorney, the city prosecutor.
I first learned about OVWA in 1998. I was going around the state talking to statewide victim service organizations about my experiences as a survivor and wanting to open up a discussion about how victims could find a place to report and receive free legal assistance to protect and enforce their rights. And the OVWA board and its members were so welcoming and very supportive, and several of the members of OVWA really provided guidance and recommendations, and they really were part of the foundation for the beginning of Ohio Crime Victim Justice Center.
We look to OVWA for guidance on the programs that we work with that are victim witness programs throughout the state. Guidance so we understand basically what those programs are about, what they're doing, what they should be doing, and also look to them for help for technical assistance and certainly even more so in the future around training those victim advocates throughout the state.
And then I remember one time going into the sheriff's office and doing a law enforcement training. And so here I am, I'm new to the field, I'm training a room that was probably a couple hundred police officers. It was horrible. Got heckled. They didn't want any part of it. They were there because they had to be. So I did my thing, I got through it. A couple of them were okay, but most of it was it was a horrible experience. So then go a little bit further down the road, and I show up at the hospital, and there's a police officer already there, and he looks at me and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I remember seeing you at the training, but I just don't know what to say to her. She's really upset and I can't get her to talk. And, it's like, okay. And then little by little, not only was I getting those kind of responses, but I was getting police officers calling our crisis line saying, we need you here at the police department. We need you here at the hospital. Can you help us? And, little by little, they started to appreciate.
So we work with OVWA in many ways. We work together to provide victims' rights training to advocates and criminal justice officials throughout the state of Ohio. We work together on initiatives to improve rights and services to victims throughout the state of Ohio. We rely and work with OVWA to help review our policies and procedures and help us improve our policies and procedures. And we're discussing other ways that we're going to collaborate and work together. And I'm just really excited about the possibilities in the future.
By far, in my opinion, the State Victim Assistance Act. I think a lot of people don't realize, I can remember sitting around with legal pads with other members of OVWA talking about the things that we wanted included in drafting that piece of legislation. And then actually going to a legislator in the state of Ohio, Joanne Davidson, because somebody had a connection to her, and asking her if she would sponsor the piece and hopefully get it passed for us. At that time, that was Ohio's VOCA, and we had no specific money for general crime victimization support. We had rape crisis money, we had family violence money. Everybody tried to be creative in getting grants, but we had no general victim assistance money available, and SVA was the answer to that, and OVWA accomplished it. They drafted it, they got a sponsor for it, it went through, it passed, and it was even legislated that OVWA be on the State Victim Assistance Act Advisory Committee. So it was.
I think by providing a network statewide for those that are involved in protecting victims, helping victims, being an advocate for victims, providing that network, providing the kind of training that occurs, and I think working as a team in the system as those issues, be they legislative or last year, I think the constitutional amendment, Marcy's Law, just providing the kind of contact network training and support as we try and address issues that come up and better protect victims and help victims.
I think that a big accomplishment is that there is this statewide organization in the state of Ohio, because a lot of states do not have this. And it's again really important to help these individual victim witness organizations have a place to go, one, to just communicate what they're doing and how they're doing it, share success stories, share stories that maybe they would have liked to have gone better. And then again, the training piece, and I just think again that sense of community among the programs throughout the state. So I think the big accomplishment is that there is an OVWA.
I think is its fact that it exists at all, because there are lots of places where this doesn't exist, and all of the advocates are working in vacuums, and it's such a stressful job, and there's so many weird things that can happen that having this organization is helpful. So I think that just the fact that it exists and that people put the time in to have it continue to exist.
If I just to pull out a few, I would say, first of all, bringing other victim service providers together, because we all learn something from one another. And that was the biggest thing in my career. I learned, I think, most from the people I served. And because I served them, I learned it. But if I didn't share that with you or with my colleagues, then they might not have an opportunity to learn that until they ran into someone with a similar victimization experience.
OVWA working to provide advocates throughout the states a place to have a unified voice where their voices are heard, to come together so that they can help improve not only services to crime victims, but to be able to unite and share their work ethics and policies and procedures, and a place to grow. The credentialing program, I think, is just absolutely amazing, and they've just done a wonderful job with that, and I believe that their OVWA is a leader in the nation in that area. And then, of course, I know many of the OVWA members were instrumental in the first Victims' Rights Constitutional Amendment in 1994, and again with the Marcy's Law Constitutional Amendment here just this past year.
Everybody gets together. OVWA offers the camaraderie, the support, feedback from your colleagues, information about what other programs are doing, state of the art, what's happening, what do we need to do to come up with whatever new legislation has happened, how do we meet the requirements that we have, Marcy's Law most recently, what would we do without being able to get together with our colleagues through OVWA and some of the other resources that we have, like 2 days in May for sure. But OVWA has always been that source of go-to support. And as I said, the camaraderie to me is what's most important. You need that when you work in a world of negative. OVWA offers the positive and the support that we all need to keep doing this work year after year.
You have rural farm areas, you have the Appalachian areas, and I think a lot of times smaller programs can feel disconnected from each other or from the rest of the state. And I think the most important thing is this is an opportunity to bring everyone together, once again, to share their practice, and it kind of builds a sense of camaraderie. And I think, again, it's important for people to be brought together and feel a part of something larger, and that they have that kind of liaison to help them sometimes with maybe matters in our office or matters within their own office. So it's kind of, OVWA is like a friend to all of these individual organizations.
Again, training, sharing information, sharing the ways that we collect data, the way we offer services, just a whole host of things that, again, why reinvent the wheel? Why not make it easier? Our jobs are tough enough with the types of things that we deal with, so anything we can do to try to make it easier.
OVWA has a long, rich history. Many of the members of OVWA have been members for decades, and they bring to the table a wealth of institutional knowledge and expertise and long-term knowledge and expertise, and they share that with organizations throughout the state. They are so well respected for their programs, not only on a state level, but on a national level.
I think the sky's the limit. It is going to be the most outstanding resource for advocates across the state. Whether you're in a prosecutor's office, a rape crisis center, a domestic violence shelter, police department, it doesn't matter. I think that OVWA's training abilities, its technical assistance, certainly, in my opinion, one of its gems in the crowd is its public policy. And I think that OVWA just has so much more to do, and we're going to do it.
Especially as there really is kind of a changing landscape around victim services, and there's going to be a need for more collaboration with other victim service programs within a community. And I think OVWA is going to play an important part of that. Justice for a victim or survivor is more than just going through a court process.
When someone says OVWA to me, what happens is I picture all these faces in my head of all of the people that I've gotten to know through OVWA.
We are so happy today that they are able to celebrate all of the years of success and to also be able to honor so many advocates within the state of Ohio and programs that are doing exemplary work.
It has been perhaps the greatest link for me to information, to support, technical assistance, as I've mentioned, but more so even that, to the people who do this work. To promote access to safety,
healing,
Justice.
And financial recovery.
for Ohio crime victims.
Through meaningful rights.
And quality services.
We are OVWA.